Okay, so hi, I'm Kwaku Adu-Asomaning. I take S20 at Ashesi University, and I just went through my notes from the 4 leadership seminars I've been through here, and I just can't help but wonder, was any of this worth it? Am I going to use any of this?
Well, 50 years later, and I can say it was absolutely worth it. Looking back at my life now that I'm 17, I'm quite grateful I went to the leadership seminars as they are what influenced my life journey and helped me reach where I am. But before we get into all of that, let's start with the more uncomfortable part. So now let's have a walk. Okay, so you know my name, but what else do you know about me? Well, to remedy that, let me give you my SWOT analysis. Before I begin my academic achievements, my strengths, I can handle extreme workloads, I'm resourceful, I'm adaptable, I'm academically strong, and when there's a problem, I find solutions. That's what got me here. Now for my weaknesses, this is where it gets real. And that's what I need you to understand, because these are things I'm fighting with every single day. Now you see, I'm competitive to the point where I can get toxic. I lash out, I refuse help even when I'm drowning, because I want to prove I can do everything by myself. But Ubuntu says I am because we are. That's what the Leadership taught us. But at the same time, I have low tolerance people that can't work at my pace, and I can also hyper focus on certain details and lose the bigger picture. Moreover, I can make things too complicated just to prove I can handle them. But Keith spoke to us about the power versus service model of leadership, and I've been running on power, proving my dominance capability. That's ego, that's not leadership, and it's the ego that I'm here to kill. Now, for the opportunities, I've met many mentors: Dr. Roska, Dr. Sasu, Dr. Ejunin Boating, and I've had opportunities to prove my skills, such as the Bank of America events, various competitions, and joining the IGN team. And for the threats, well, think about all the Gen AIs and all the jobs they're taking and how they are commoditizing skills that I have. Moreover, the higher I go, the more competitive things get.
So I'll tell you a bit about myself, my strengths and weaknesses and so on. So now, let me paint a picture of where this is all going. Here's my autobiography from age 70. So in my late 20s, I graduated with benefits from EPF with robotics and bioinformatics, and I was 29, I earned a Nobel Prize for gene editing that's eliminating hereditary diseases. And at 32, I won a Turing Award for integrating AI into robots. But here's what prizes don't tell you. Those achievements come from teams, diverse teams, and getting them meant killing who I am right now. It meant learning to listen, to value perspectives that challenge mine, to measure success that matches the team group, not just the output. Now, the lesson from this: innovation happens at intersections, not in silos. Research teams work the same way. And at 45, I came back to Ghana full-time so I could develop a national robotics program, primary schools through universities. We have summer workshops, competitions, internships, and so on. This is the servant leadership test. Am I building for my glory? Am I trying to genuinely empower the next generation? Now, throughout my 50s, I'm working as an IGM judge. I'm watching young bioengineers from across Africa and beyond innovate. Now, science leaders eat last, and so from my 60s, I'm working at Chelsea EPF for NETO to train the next generation of leaders. And at 70, my legacy isn't the Nobel or the Turing Award. It's the students solving water crises, the robotics making prosthetics accessible, the educators bringing tech to rural Ghana. That's what the servant leadership looks like when it's real. That's the vision.
It's great view, right? It's so beautiful. But here's the thing. Here's me right now, and here is a 70-year-old that spoke to you earlier. And there's a big gap, don't you think? Well, let me take you through the action plan that will take me from here all the way to here. So here's the plan. My action plan is specific. It's in 3 phases. So phase 1, that's now I'm in 3rd year at Ashesi. I'm joining the IGM team, but not to dominate, to practice. Space and knowledge outline 10 practices of servants leaders: listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, all of it. I need reps. I'll have this with Dr. Roska, not just technical stuff, but how I able to work and think go differently. Professional counseling for my competitive toxicity. Leadership was clear. Emotional intelligence is not optional, and I'll have monthly check-ins with Kojo Boating as well. I wrote in this letter. It gives him full permission to call me out when I'm being abrasive, when I'm being overcomplicating, when I'm refusing help. But Dako said leadership requires restraint. Sometimes you need to restrain yourself with accountability. Now, on to phase 2. That's my mid-career for my 20s to 40s. During my doctoral and consulting work at OpenAI, Tesla, wherever, I'll intentionally pick diverse teams, and our success metric will be their independent work. I'll mentor junior researchers, as leadership really taught me. Inclusion drives development. I'll learn to communicate complex ideas in ways that inspire and not just impress. And I'll communicate such a way that it moves my workers to do better. Now, phase 3 is 45 to 70. that's when I come out to Ghana and focus on teaching and developing the nation. I'll establish the National Robotics Program, and that'll be the real test. Will I be able to empower students from under-resourced schools? Can I practice Goldman's cultural intelligence and understand their context, their approaches? I also work as a judge in the IGNT. Now, can I appreciate solutions that I never think of? Can I treat failure as data like Edmondson taught us and not a defeat? Teaching, sharing struggles, not just success, that's the real leadership journey. Showing that managing yourself through discipline, humility, patience, it comes before managing others. And during this time, I have to focus on certain specific competencies such as emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, collaborative leadership, inspirational communication, and humility especially. That's the plan.
So I went through 4 leadership seminars, and here's what they taught me. In leadership 1, I learned character and self-awareness matter far more than any credentials ever could. Now in leadership 2, I learned that good societies need servant leaders who understand the Ubuntu philosophy as well as social contracts and what they imply as they interact with as a society. Now in leadership 3, I learned that sustainable development requires understanding diverse systems and stakeholders as well as the effects it can have on the economy. And finally in leadership 4, I came to understand the true value of quiet leadership that is daily and service oriented. Now, the gap between 21 and 70 was bridged by discipline and effort. The discipline to collaborate when I had to compete, humility to ask for help when I needed it, even though I wanted to be independent. I also needed the patience to respect and understand others when I want to rush ahead. I also needed the courage to measure my legacy by those who are in power, not by what I personally achieved. And that letter I sent Kojo, I told him to hold me accountable. I told him to call out my braces. I told him to stop me when I go too far. And I told him to remind me that leaders have to eat fast and that he had to be relentless. And my transformation required that level of accountability. Now, as you can imagine, this wasn't a perfect plan and I'm not a perfect leader. But I committed to the journey from power to service, from ego to Ubuntu, from technical genius to ethical leader. That was the journey. Thank you very much. Now, this isn't a perfect plan, and I wasn't always a perfect leader, but I committed to the journey, and I went from power to service, from ego to Ubuntu, and from a technical genius to an ethical leader. That's my leadership development plan, and that was my leadership journey. Thank you very much.